Guess what day it is?
Friday, it was just a Friday. Said it's Friday, I'm in love. You know it's Friday. Leaving up for the weekend. It's Friday night.
It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday weekend.
12 years ago, the most active tornado season in history saw the most violent tornado outbreak in history, the sixth deadliest tornado in history, and tornadoes going through multiple major cities. Raleigh, St. Louis, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Joplin, they were all hit by significant tornadoes in 2011. But the tornado that almost nobody heard of in the national media was the North Minneapolis high-end EF1 tornado.
When we heard the siren and the clouds came in and it was like green and
all of a sudden I heard the sirens go off. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So I go downstairs and look out the windows.
We also have some video from you apparently
the
driving.
sky was kind of
and we're going to show that
weird color.
Right now, Tim. So
Well, that's right. We were heading westbound on 394, and the rain started. There was some hail mixed into it, and it got heavy enough that traffic started moving over to the side of the road. And it was just on the back side of that, when the rain, for the most part, stopped, that we saw that that cloud formation, coming up out of the ground, and that was on the back side of that storm with blue skies behind that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what catches a lot of people off guard, because they see it clearing and they don't realize that that's the part of the storm that's the most dangerous when you're talking about tornadic storms.
On May 22nd, 2011, there was a setup for tornadoes in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri with a 15% chance of EF2 plus tornadoes. But Minneapolis was in a slight risk for severe weather and a 5% risk of tornadoes that day. But storms fared up further west than expected, so the first tornado watch was issued at 12:10 Central Time for southeastern Minnesota after a line of thunderstorms rolled through the Twin Cities. The watch was issued because of potential supercells, those are the storms that most commonly produce tornadoes, to form behind the first line. The tornado watch meant that it was possible for tornadoes to form in the watch area. It was the first watch of the day, and it took a bit for supercells to develop, but when they did not waste any time in striking populated areas.
we were like, I think this is serious. Let's go into the basement.
Supposed to meet friends northeast. So it was raining, but I got in my car and started
And then
driving
from there,
towards
they've extended
northeast.
this tornado warning all the way up through Columbia Heights, Hilltop, New Brighton, up to Shoreview, affecting Arden Hills, also Roseville. Those areas getting some very strong storms.
At 1 o'clock, storms were firing in Minnesota, and one cell formed to the west of New Prague, Minnesota, and was showing signs of rotation as it worked its way up towards the metro. At 1:45, the cell merged with a different cell to the west of Shakopee, and then at 2 o'clock started to rotate more to the west of Edina. 2:09, a tornado warning was issued for that cell. The Weather Service was right to do this because 4 minutes later, at 2:13, the tornado was on the ground doing damage in St. Louis Park. Minor damage to trees and roofs. The tornado moved into North Minneapolis. It intensified into an EF1, doing major damage to roofs of buildings and killing one man when a tree fell on him inside of his car. The tornado continued across the Mississippi River at the Camden Bridge and continued doing damage in Anoka County before lifting near the Anoka Airport after doing $166 million in damage to North Minneapolis.
I live on Morgan and Lowry by the fire station. And the tornado really came through the street behind us on Logan. So every other tree was down. When the tornado had passed, we peeked out and there was only one small tree on Morgan, and quickly people got it taken care of with chainsaws. So it was like there was a freeway going through North Minneapolis on Morgan Avenue.
It was a precursor to what was to come 3 hours later in Joplin, Missouri, when an EF5 went through the town with winds over 200 miles an hour, bulldozing the town. But even through all the destruction, there were stories of
Come
plenty.
to find out that 2 blocks over from where I was staying, the tornado actually tore up houses. Literally came through that block.
The other thing I'll never forget is how nobody had power, so everyone came out of their houses and talked to each other. There was lots of smiling, there was lots of working with each other, there was lots of checking in on each other.
The tornado warning was quickly confirmed by a storm spotter, Thomas Bing, which allowed the Weather Service to relay that there was a confirmed tornado on the ground and give that information to local news outlets and law enforcement to convey that information more efficiently to the public. Law enforcement sounded the tornado siren to alert people who had no other way of getting the warning. The news networks interrupted programming to convey the information. Everything was done properly, and that is why so many lives were saved. Now, with the 2023 tornado season off to a fast start and models suggesting this to continue, it's important to review some tornado safety tips. The first one is have a plan. The most valuable thing you can do is to have a plan for when a watch and warning is issued. This is why there are tornado siren tests on the first Wednesday of every month. It's to make sure you know what they sound like and have a plan and know what to do. When a watch is issued, just do what it says. Just be watching for if you need to take action and review your storm plan. When a warning is issued, that's when you need to be putting your tornado safe plan into effect. That is, get to the lowest floor of a building, basement's the best, but first floor is fine, get near the center, away from windows, and get a helmet on if you can. If you are in a car or a mobile home, get to a substantial place of shelter. Remember, don't be scared, be prepared.